Toda Mariko, as referred to in the Shogun TV show, is based off the real life of the noblewoman Akechi Tama, now remembered to history as Hosokawa Gracia. She was born during the tumultuous era of the Sengoku period, a period in Japanese history in which civil wars took place continuously throughout the 15th and 16th centuries. During this time, the power of the Ashikaga Shogunate and the emperor were both greatly diminished, with both unable to unify or control the daimyos in the country. So dire was the situation that the shogun, the de facto ruler of the country, held no influence and was reduced to the puppet of various warlords. At the same time, Christian missionaries had arrived in Japan, and by the 1540s, over 100,000 people had converted, including many daimyos, and also the noble lady Akechi Tama would also convert. However, Christianity would soon represent a threat to the national unity of Japan. Many daimyos converted to Christianity to gain access to gunpowder and various weapons which the Christians had brought over from Europe. The first daimyo to convert to Christianity was Omura Sumitada, the first ever Roman Catholic Japanese lord, in the year 1562. He began a scorched earth campaign against local Buddhists, destroying their temples. This example of fanaticism, or religious devotion, added to the Japanese suspicion against the new religion. Nevertheless, Akechi Tama's faith would not waver, even though there were edicts by the emperor himself to ban the religion. She was one of the only upper-class women in Japanese history to convert to Catholicism during this era. This is her story. Akechi Tama was born in the year 1563, being the daughter of Akechi Mitsuhide, a Japanese samurai general who was in the service of Oda Nobunaga, one of the most powerful daimyos in Japan. Her mother was named Tsumaki Hiroko and was a noblewoman. Not much is known about Akechi Tama's early life, but after the siege of Mount Hiei, Tama's father Mitsuhide would receive much land from Oda Nobunaga and would build a fortress named Sakamoto Castle. Due to Tama's father's prowess in battle, she would grow up in a castle, receiving all of the benefits a Japanese noblewoman would. When Tama was 16 years old, she married Hosokawa Dadaoki, a samurai warrior and the head of the Hosokawa clan. The couple would have 5 or 6 children together. Tama was described as a beautiful and intelligent woman who loved to learn. She was also said to have a melancholic nature. In the year of 1582, Tama's father Mitsuhide found himself embroiled in a tumultuous series of events. Initially tasked by Oda Nobunaga to lend aid to Hashiba Hideyoshi's campaign against the Mori clan, Mitsuhide, however, ignored these orders. He mustered an impressive force of 13,000 valiant soldiers, defying Nobunaga's commands as he marched towards the sacred Honnō-ji temple. Mitsuhide's army encircled the temple, and in a blaze of passion or perhaps madness, set it alight. Amidst the engulfing flames, Mitsuhide's blade fell across all who crossed his path, leaving in its wake a scene of chaos and sorrow. The once untouchable, powerful Oda Nobunaga found himself compelled to embrace the ritual of seppuku, bested and betrayed by his most trusted general. He would surrender himself to his blade to safeguard his honor. In the aftermath of Nobunaga's death, Nobunaga's son, Oda Nobutada, fled the scene but was surrounded at Nijo Castle and was killed. Mitsuhide's betrayal of the Oda clan shocked the capital, and he would move quickly to secure his position. Mitsuhide then looted Azuchi Castle in order to reward his men and maintain their loyalty. He then attempted to establish himself as the shogun, but just 13 days later, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the most powerful daimyo in the country, would meet him at the Battle of Yamakaze, where Mitsuhide was defeated and was eventually killed by a gang of bandits after fleeing the battle. Since Mitsuhide betrayed and murdered his lord Oda Nobunaga, this made the teenage Akechi Tama the daughter of a disgraced traitor. Her husband, Hosokawa Tadaoki, did not wish to divorce her and sent her into exile. She would go to the mountains of the Tango Peninsula in order to keep herself hidden. Tama would remain there for 2 years until the year 1584, where Toyotomi Hideyoshi requested that Tadaoki bring Tama to the Hosokawa mansion in Osaka. Tadaoki would finally reunite with his wife Tama, but was unsure of their stay in Osaka. Hideyoshi's reputation as a womanizer instilled fear in Tadaoki, who dreaded any potential advances towards his wife. On one occasion, she was summoned to meet Hideyoshi, but a dagger coincidentally slipped from her person as she bowed, serving as a clear signal. Recognizing this subtle gesture, Hideyoshi refrained from extending further invitations. However, this incident prompted Tadaoki to impose strict confinement upon his wife. Once again, Tama was a prisoner. Tama would receive some solace through the tales of her maid, who told her many stories from the Bible. Tama's maid was from a Catholic family, and her husband had told her about conversations he had had with his Christian ally, Justo Takayama Ukon, a Catholic daimyo and samurai. The maid would in turn repeat these stories to Tama, who was entranced by the foreign religion and way of life. In the year 1587, Tama somehow snuck out of the mansion in Osaka and managed to visit the Osaka church. However, a few months later, Toyotomi Hideyoshi banned Christian missionaries from Kyushu and issued a proclamation against Christianity. When Tama heard the news, she was determined to be baptized at once. Due to her being a captive, she would be baptized by her maid and received the Christian name Gracia. During this time, she is reported to have studied both Latin and Portuguese. She would spend her time reading The Imitation of Christ, a handbook for spiritual life, written by Thomas à Kempis. The book and Christian way of life would fascinate Tama, as she fully embraced her new religion. Tama, however, would soon be in grave danger yet again. Her husband Tadaoki was close friends with Toyotomi Hidesugu, the nephew and heir of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the unifier and de facto ruler of Japan. Despite being Hideyoshi's closest adult male relative, Hidesugu was accused of atrocities and attempting to stage a coup after the birth of Hideyoshi's son. He was ordered to commit suicide. Hidesugu's entire family, including his children, were also executed on Hideyoshi's orders. Due to Tadaoki's friendship with the now dead Hidesugu, he feared he was next, and ordered that his wife, Tama, must kill herself, should he be executed. Tama would ask Catholic priests about the plan. However, they informed her that suicide was one of the gravest of sins. Tama was conflicted. She could choose whether to retain her honor according to Japanese customs and burn in hell, or live out the rest of her life disgraced, but according to the Lord's word. Luckily for Tama and her husband, the danger would pass, and the couple were not accused of treason. In the year 1598, Toyotomi Hideyoshi would die. While on his deathbed, his son, Toyotomi Hideyori was but 5 years old. Due to this, Hideyoshi created the Council of 5 Elders to ensure his heir would be able to succeed him after his coming of age. After the death of Hideyoshi, friction would generate between the council members. Over the next 2 years, Tokugawa Ieyasu, a powerful warlord, made alliances with various daimyo, especially those who had no love for Hideyoshi. Later, the oldest and most respected of the Council of 5 Elders, Maeda Toshi, died after just 1 year, in the year 1599. Ieyasu led an army to Fushimi and took over Osaka Castle, the residence of Hideyori. This angered the 3 remaining council elders, and plans were made on all sides for war. 2 of Hideyoshi's top generals, Kato Kiyomasa, the lord of Kumamoto, and Fukushima Masanori, the lord of Hiroshima, had fought bravely for him during the Japanese invasions of Korea, but the 2 returned home to find the Toyotomi clan in a state of disarray. The clan was being led by Ishida Mitsunari, who would hold the generals in contempt. This resulted in them siding with the ambitious Tokugawa Ieyasu. Due to Toyotomi Hideyoshi killing most of his male family members after the birth of his son, there was now no one to lead the clan, as his heir was just 5 years old. This significantly weakened the Toyotomi regime. Nevertheless, 2 factions were forming around Japan, one led by Tokugawa Ieyasu, and the other was led by Ishida Mitsunari. Tama's husband Tadaoki would ally himself with Tokugawa Ieyasu, and together they departed from the city of Osaka, heading eastward. Meanwhile, Ishida quickly seized control of Osaka Castle, where the families of numerous generals loyal to Hideyoshi were residing. Ishida's strategy involved holding these family members as hostages, thereby compelling the opposing generals to either join forces with him or refrain from launching assaults against him. In the year 1600, Ishida's forces overran Osaka, and he was able to take Tama hostage. Her family retainer killed her to protect her honor and prevent her the humiliation of capture. The retainer then committed seppuku after lighting the mansion on fire. Both corpses were then engulfed by flames. The outcry following the demise of Tama was profound, compelling Ishida to relinquish his schemes. While many Japanese narratives attribute the decision to end her life to Tama herself, it's important to note that these accounts emerged several decades after her death. The initial Jesuit recount, scribed shortly after her demise, presents a different perspective. According to this version, Tadaoki had instructed his household attendants to ensure Tama's honor remained intact, even if it meant taking her life in dire circumstances. Perceiving the attempted kidnapping as such a threat, the servants acted upon Tadaoki's order and killed Tama. Ishida Mitsunari would soon meet his end. He was defeated by Tokugawa Ieyasu at the Battle of Sekigahara, and Ieyasu would ascend and become the next official shogun, ending the Sengoku period. The shogun Ieyasu would eventually ban the practice of Christianity from Japan in the year 1614 and expelled all foreign missionaries. Due to this, Tama was one of the only upper-class women in Japanese history to convert to Catholicism during this era, making her story legend. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you all soon for another History Profile.